Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast. Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is the Simpsons Index, episode 128. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot Jay O'Neill, and joining me in SideQuest Studios today is Michael Pisciuneri.
Good morning, Vietnam.
And here as always, except when he's not, BT Calloway.
Hoi hoi.
And thank you for joining us for the Simpsons Index. This is a podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there's a twist. Each episode must come from a different decade. And now today we're doing like a little bit of a dive into a Skinner sort of theme today. Although the link to Skinner was a bit more tenuous in this first episode. So how are we feeling after watching that one?
I mean, mixed.
Yeah.
The guy could use some alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait until sundown to switch to hard liquor, which this episode might require. But
man, it's sundown somewhere.
That's it.
But yeah, we started out today by watching season 21, episode 6, Pranks and Greens. Pranks and Greens.
Like Franks and Beans, only pranks and greens.
So creative.
Pranks and Beans. First released in November of '09, it was directed by Chuck Sheets, he sure does, written by Jeff Westbrook in this episode. But here's of a prankster that was way more prankier than him, and he seeks to find him out. And meanwhile, in the B story, Marge is having a hard time keeping up with mothers who are obsessive with only giving their babies the most purest, bestest ingredients. Guys, what do we think?
Yeah, like I said, man, mixed. Like, there's some jokes I really got a good laugh out of, and I like the plot beats, but they were just kind of so flat that I just didn't care. And then some jokes bombed so hard that it was just like, man, this is a very balanced episode in terms of bad and good, leveling it out into a
Yeah.
This felt about as unnecessary as the Aladdin remake.
Take that, Disney Corp.
Well, yeah, I mean, shit, yeah.
Yeah, this story just has like 2 stories that have no purpose whatsoever, and their endings don't feel satisfactory either.
No, you're right. They just don't go anywhere, do they?
No, they're not trying to tell you anything. Like, they have no message or meaning.
Yeah. All right, well, let's hook into it. BT, for better or worse, what's something that stands out to you about this episode?
Jeez, I have very few notes on this one, so this might take a second. I'm going to call to the best joke in the entire episode where Bart's doing some research on a computer and then sees an image and Lisa's there and he's, expositing to her and just goes, all right, what's that in the background? Zoom in her hands. And she's like, yeah, and just pushes his head towards the screen. That was great. I got a good laugh out of that. Yeah. That's easily the highlight of the episode.
Yeah, because I thought they were going to do the bit, but there's no such thing as zoom and enhance.
You can't zoom and enhance.
But yeah, it was a really good misdirect. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
And I'm going to balance that with a joke I thought was terrible, which is when Marge is burning all the the bad food in the house. Homer runs into the kitchen, grabs a can of Cool Whip and uses it as an extinguisher, but then Marge is like, no, don't you know that's a petroleum byproduct? First of all, no, it's not. Second of all, it's not flammable. And third of all, that wouldn't have mattered if you hadn't taken the time to stop, zoom in on the can and go, it's Cool Whip. Yeah. Like, if it had just been a can and Homer was shaking it up and we assumed it was some kind of random brand of whipped cream, you would have been fine. But to stop and say, this is Cool Whip, and then do something Cool Whip doesn't do is just stupid beyond words.
It was so labored. It was like, it was bending at the knees and squatting and like stretching just to lift up a feather. Like, it was so labored.
Yeah, just, you could have got away with it if you just hadn't labored it so much for like no reason. There was no payoff to that labor.
For real. How about you, Michael? What's something about this episode that stands out to you for better or worse?
Definitely for worse, the fact that apparently Marge's character is now a fucking idiot. Because she's been a housewife for like 20 years, but she didn't wash the carrots before she cut them, and then decides to throw them out because Bart, of all people, reminds her, hey, did you wash those carrots?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell was that?
I got to back up your point there. Who the fuck chops their carrots top first? You start at the base and then like you use the top as an anchoring point. And,
that's a good point.
Man, well, you've been a mother of 3 for 30 years. Maybe she knows something you don't. But yeah, it was just a weird bit. It was like, why are we having Marge chop carrots and then having Bart tell her to... Yeah, the whole bit doesn't make sense. And if we're tying into her plot line of being obsessed with healthy things, maybe he shouldn't have said something like, were those carrots organically grown? And she's like, and then shuts them out.
Because then it would have been like, oh, she missed something because she's so obsessed with trying to be healthy for those other mothers that she keeps missing shit, which is essentially what was happening with that story anyway.
But instead he's just like, did you wash them? And then it's like, oh, throw them out. Like, you could have washed them after. It's like, I feel like you would know that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, tying into what sort of stood out to me from this episode, which is I kind of liked the idea of Marge's story where, you've got these obsessive mothers who are, reading all the fucking listicles in the world telling you what's bad for your kids.
Yeah, there's a great line in there where someone's like, have you even read the books I've read?
Yeah, that was Baby Gerald's mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and this leads to actually my two absolute favorite jokes in the episode, which was the two baby songs. I love fucking Poop in the Tub. I still sing Poop in the Tub all the time. I'm not gonna poop in the tub.
Well, the don't is like in brackets at the title.
Yeah. It's like that Chili Peppers song, Strip My Mind, where the chorus is, please don't strip my mind. It's like, you're being misleading, Anthony Kiedis.
Mixed messages here, Peppers.
And then the other one, which was dogs and kitties die from a young age or whatever. And so, but they do a lot better than fish.
I do like, happy songs that are preparing kids for life.
Yeah. But it's just the problem with this story, that it just went nowhere. Like, I mean, there's something sort of a payoff with Marge then gorging out on Homer's food, but like, it was sort of just such a nothing thrown together story that you can tell was just pitched as like the writers just griping about their mummy and baby groups.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it could have worked fine. It's just, and even the payoff of having it be kind of a non-thing at the end where Marge is like, we'll just get the kids to eat healthy and we'll gorge ourselves on crap. Even that it could have been like not a misdirect, but like a anti-climax. It could have worked okay, but just, I don't know, it all felt so... It's like the family weren't involved, so therefore when her conclusion is, we'll just give it to the kids and do whatever we want, it's like, but the kids were never involved in this plot line.
Yeah.
Plus, like, as well, leading to that, okay, if they decide they're going to feed the kids healthy stuff, but they're not going to do that, that could have presented a good sort of conflict of the kids being like, hey, why do we have to eat healthy, but you guys don't?
Yeah.
And
And that actually could have been a more interesting story if they fleshed it out. Like, because it'd be something that Lisa would get on board with, but Bart would have a problem. And story writes itself, goddammit.
They had the time. It's just they spent it on the long ass intro.
Yeah. Oh, God. Never normally talk about the couch gags, but holy fuck. When they fire up on the 12th day of Christmas.
Like, we're doing all of it, aren't we?
Was this a Christmas-themed episode?
Well, no, that's the weird thing. We've got that long intro that is Christmas-themed. There's Christmas music at the beginning when Bart's doing his pranks, and there's Christmas music at the end, but none of it is Christmas-related.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
And it was released in November.
Well, I mean, release date, whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess the shops start putting up Christmas decorations in August these days, so, yeah.
Yeah, and it also has the weird chalkboard gag where Bart's writing out, 100 times, Halloween does not kick Thanksgiving's ass. I'm like, yes, it does.
Yeah.
How dare you censor the truth, Springfield?
I love it. So I can get to dress up and get all evil and...
Scare some kids and eat some candy and,
You don't have to wait till Halloween to scare kids.
Legally. Scare them legally.
Yes, of course.
Play count. How many times have you seen this episode before today?
Thankfully, 0.
The once.
I've seen it a few times. Like, I enjoy season 21 overall. So, back when I used to watch these episodes quite a bit, this one just sort of slipped in the rotation. And I think it sort of serves as like a background forgettable episode.
Yeah, like if you don't focus on it too much, it's passable.
Yeah, it definitely passes the time and has a few good gags. So let's talk about some of those gags and the wackiness. Was this a particularly cartoony episode of The Simpsons?
Some of the pranks were pretty... Actually, no, they weren't even wacky. They were just bad, some of them. Like, there's one where Skinner walks into the Springfield Elementary toilet, and then Bart and Milhouse pull the walls down, and he's in the middle of the gymnasium. He's like, okay, so many things right now. First of all, how the fuck did he not know he was in the gym? Like,
of his own school.
Of his own school. He knows where the toilets are. It's just like, why?
It's funnier examining that joke than it actually was to watch it.
Yeah, it's just, who would have possibly have thought this works? Like, he's just walking along, I don't remember there a toilet being in the middle of this basketball court, but, oh well, I guess I'll just go in here.
Yeah. And where Bart and Milhouse are alternating flooding the teacher's room with nitrous oxide and carbon monoxide. That's just fucking dark.
Yeah, if they don't get that balance right, there's going to be a lot of brain damage.
I think this episode actually has a pretty high death count. Especially the one where they do the flashback and Skinner dives into the pool of worms, the big fucking event that changed Skinner forever.
Yep. Changed Armin Tanzarian forever.
Yeah, this episode's got the screwiest timeline as well.
Yep. Although I think, haven't they officially stated that Armin Tanzarian isn't meant to be canon, which doesn't make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. But then they reference him later anyway. All right, fine, whatever. What is canon anymore? I mean, they're not rebooting, they're making another Terminator that ignores everything post-Terminator 2. They've done the same thing with Halloween. Canon doesn't exist anymore.
No. Wonder how Marvel are going to go about that.
It's a different universe.
Oh, yeah. They can play the whole fucking 5-year card now.
Yeah, they play the 5-year card. They can play the It's Universe B.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing with the Spider-Man Far From Home.
Apparently being alluded to, yeah. Who knows how much that's going to play in, but we'll find out.
Yeah, because Mysterion, or whatever his name is. Mysterio is meant to be a villain, so.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio Jr.
619.
Booyaka.
Although I do like the quick joke of where someone throws him a frisbee and goes, "Thanks, Keith. Stay in school." I will.
Yeah. Yeah, again, there are some decent jokes in this. So just around the pranks, what do we think of Andy Hamilton?
No, he was boring as fuck.
Yeah, really shit character. I can't believe Jonah Hill fucking said yes to it.
Hey, you picked out the guest star of this episode, Jonah Hill.
Oh, man, I thought it was Glenn Close. What?
Yeah, Jonah Hill doesn't mesh well at all with this episode. You can tell it's not his humor.
Well, again, I think he had an interesting character arc of being someone Bart would look up to until he realized, oh, this kid's 19 and still a loser. But it's just, there's something about him that I just find really boring. Anytime he's on screen, I'm like, and tuning out.
Yeah.
Well, he's not funny.
Yeah, well, pretty much.
Like, his pranks aren't funny either.
Yeah.
Like, Boner Away. Well,
yeah.
Oh, that was so dumb. And then Wiggum's driving down, I guess we can go both ways. And then it's like, what? That's a, what? I don't even...
Had a real...
It says bone away, you can go, but what?
And yeah, Wiggum had a real off voice moment then.
Like I did a more accurate Wiggum just then.
Yeah.
It was very noticeable. I'm Wiggum, man.
See?
Yeah.
But yeah, the pranks as well. Like I liked the misdirect of the chips that it was a real snake, but then dragging out with the defanged but rubbing poison on Milhouse's arm and
when they take that second and third bite. And then
I get it.
Oh, right. Whoops.
Snake.
And then Milhouse is lying there shivering and they hold on him for a little bit too long. And and there's another example of that, I think, when Bart destroys Skinner's car and Skinner's like, "You've just completely ruined the car I rent from Mother." And then I like that joke in passing, but then they stop and Bart's like, "You rent it? Oh, I've only got a few more payments left." I was like, "Nah, you ruined it." It was funny in passing when you just pick it up and go, "Hey, he's renting it."
Yeah.
From his mum.
I think it just goes towards how padded this episode is. And
no, I think that is the absolute best word for this entire episode. It is padded. There are parts that work, but they're just so packed in with styrofoam nothing that it's so hard to get to the good bits that it sucks overall.
Yeah, I mean, because look at my notes here. Like, that's normal notes. That's this episode's notes. There are so few.
For me, normal notes... this episode.
Jesus.
Literally a half page when I usually do a full page.
Just lastly on the wackiness, I mean, there's more to talk about, but the one joke that I kind of liked was when they are in the like organic food shop and the food goes moldy the instant that they've paid for it. Like, I think that is like just a funny little commentary on, non-preservative food, but... Also, speaking of the padding, she listed out every fucking product that they bought.
And some of them were kind of funny, but most of them were just like soy with soy and soy.
Yeah.
Homogeneously grown soy.
I liked free-range gluten.
Yeah, that was good. And like invisible cheese.
Yeah.
So there's some jokes in there.
But, I mean, they kind of justified it with Marge going, you don't have to say what we know what we bought. Like, because I've had this a couple of times in my life where, like, the people running the register have commented on my purchases and like, fuck off.
What, positively or negatively?
Just like, oh, what are you getting up to today? And it's like, mind your own business.
Yeah, that's when you play that game where you buy the most 3 questionable objects you can.
Yeah.
Or 2 questionable if you like it. So, Because it happened to me once accidentally when I was living alone, taking care of my sister's cat, and I forgot the cat food, and I walked back to the shop and bought cat food. I'm like, oh yeah, and I don't have barbecue sauce. So I bought cat food and barbecue sauce. I was like, that must have been weird for that person.
It's like, he's got a good Friday night ahead of him.
Delish. Gonna fry up the barbecue, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, register people. Do it in your own head like I did when I was running the checkout at Franklin's. You know, I'd play, register detective.
What's this person doing today?
Yeah, and one day when I was having a really fun day with it, some dude came in, bought a bunch of bananas, a 50-pack of disposable gloves, and KY.
Yes.
Yep. It writes itself.
I was just like, quiet. $15, sir.
Thank God for self-serve.
Yeah.
For real.
It makes buying
Questionable items,
bananas
makes
and KY.
buying bananas a lot more less awkward.
So how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel any heart from this?
Nope.
I wanted to stab myself in the heart for watching
It's
this.
different. That's dramatic. You can just leave the room. It's cool. Yeah, I mean, we kind of should have, in the sense that, Bart feels like maybe this is where my life is going, but it was more that, hey, this guy sucks and he needs to be fixed, not this is, the path I'm on. I better watch myself. So,
yeah. And I guess it would have meant a lot more if, like, Bart and Andy actually were starting to do some stuff together, because it also unfolded really quickly where Bart spent like 2 minutes with Andy and then all of a sudden one word from Lisa and he's like trying to set Andy on a better path.
Mm-hmm. Or, in the other story, if Marge and Maggie had spent any screen time together.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have liked it if it concluded with a scene where Maggie's just eating dirt. Marge is like, you know what? I think you'll be fine no matter what you eat. Because kids eat crap all the time.
Is that organic dirt?
It's as healthy as it gets. Dirt, straight from the ground.
I mean, what do we even discuss with the heart? Because even in the sense with Krusty's involvement with the episode, where I do actually kind of like the turn that Andy became his head writer,
Head writer was too much, but on the writing staff, because, hey, he writes wacky jokes and that's what works for a clown show.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Very obvious telegraphing when it's like, the truck of worms prank grade. You're like, okay, he's going to do a misdirect here. I already figured you out, episode. But, the idea is still sound.
Yeah. There was a bit when Bart was trying to get Andy the job and he's in Krusty's dressing room. Apparently the list of things that Krusty said he won't do was all things that were in Jonah Hill movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, giving
I buy you alcohol from Superbad.
Yeah, giving a young comic his first chance, giving a washed-up hack his last chance, and all that sort of stuff, yeah.
That went for a really long time.
Yeah.
Well, Jonah Hill's been in a lot of movies.
Prolific.
True, but it was like no payoff as far as this
if you didn't know that, which I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't either, and I'm actually a big fan of Jonah Hill's movies, and I totally whoosh.
Yeah, what an interesting career trajectory, right? Because he started out...
Oscar-nominated actor.
Oscar nominee Jonah Hill. Mm-hmm. Director as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that 90s film that's recently come out. It's like a skater movie.
Yeah.
Oh, which, I'm going to bring this up again later, stars the kid who played Atreus in the latest God of War game.
Oh, you mean boy.
Boy. Come here, boy. Dad of boy. Yeah. And... yeah, what an interesting career trajectory. Someone who I thought was just going to be a Seth Rogen clone. Mm-hmm. Rogen clone. I never know. I never
Rogen.
remember. It's Rogen. And yeah, he ends up being a serious dramatic actor and doing fucking Scorsese movie.
You know he took a massive pay cut to do that movie?
You would. I would take a massive pay cut to be in a Scorsese movie.
He took a pay cut to do The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Irony.
Yeah. He took a massive weight cut as well.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Did any of you see that one that was on Netflix with Emma Stone?
I watched most of the first episodes. Like, this is interesting. I'll come back to it. I never did.
Oh, the show.
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen it. Any good?
Maniac.
Yeah. I have your exact same story, man.
Yeah, I'm like, this could get interesting. I'll come back to it. Just other things came up.
Yeah. It's gathering dust on my Netflix list. See, we're padding out this segment because I know there's not much more to talk about. But ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
A heavily padded one, yes. Because, again, the plot beats make sense, and they kind of fit with the Simpsons characters. There's just so much padding to get to there. It's just exhausting.
Yeah, it felt like a typical HD era episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of hard to talk about the integrity when Skinner's integrity is so screwed up at this point that sure, he used to be a cool teacher, whatever.
Yeah, it's like when you see that 90s episode where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, sure, Homer invented grunge. Yep, okay, whatever.
Let's just carry on.
Yep.
And yeah, swim teacher Willie.
Yeah. Especially when he waxes and shaves the boys. I'm like,
Yeah.
you saved it with a visual of him just waxing a kid's back, but the sentence is worrying.
I kind of liked the Aberdeen crawl, I guess.
Yeah, I got a laugh out of that. Very unexpected.
Jesus, there's
Yeah,
so
man,
little.
I'm notebook closed. I'm done. I've got nothing left.
I guess there's a little bit of a lack of integrity with Bart that he tried to fix Andy up on the path, but I mean, I guess because he sees himself in him, I don't know.
But there could have been so much more of that. Like, surely this should be a trying to fix Bart by fixing Andy kind of thing. That wasn't there. It was just, I'm going to get you a job. Why aren't you at your job? You found a better job.
Yeah, Bart doesn't really change. Like, we don't get to see Bart changing as a result.
No, and I can't think that's... Surely by noticing what's wrong with this person, he's already fixed the problem with himself.
Yeah.
So...
And I do have a question. Why would Skinner sort of try to make Bart feel insecure? Like,
Yeah.
because this is potentially setting Bart up to try and outprank
No,
himself.
it's literally that. Like, when he's all like, oh, there was a kid who was even worse than you, Bart. It's originally being done as like, Skinner's like, oh, you think you're so hot? Well, don't worry. There was someone who was worse than you. But it's, given that he's meant to be traumatized from the event, you feel like he would avoid bringing it up altogether.
Yeah.
And it's just, the Skinner we get there who's kind of goading Bart into, oh, you should research this. It's going to be, it clashes completely with the Skinner that resulted from that prank. So yeah, it's could have been introduced some other way.
Unless he knows that kid became like nothing.
A loser.
A
Well, that would
loser.
have been cool as well if he had been like, maybe you should look into this kid and see where your future's headed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again,
That would have made more sense, definitely.
They didn't do that.
It's a bit too much logic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like, in terms of integrity, yeah, there's definitely something to Marge being, a bit flustered by trying to keep up with all these mummies with their incessant demands and, staying up all night to blow bubbles into the zucchini muffins
Because they won't
don't
write for themselves. Yeah.
That's so Marge, but yeah.
Yeah, and I guarantee this is a pretty massive thing in a current parenthood of, you mean it's not organically homogenized single source? You monster.
Served it in PPAs, number 7 tubs. Oh my God.
Again, kids eat dirt.
Yeah. That's a matter of fact and some advice.
It's another thing as well with that plot. It's like, so is Marge just not going to hang out with those women anymore? Those women are going to continue to do that. I mean, you could have had a whole thing of like Marge teaching them that by doing that and sheltering their kids, they were actually having a worse effect on them.
Well, yeah, and I think it's sort of disappointing that they didn't have a scene at one of the other mothers' house, like where...
Like everything's padded.
Yeah.
That could have been something to mind when they're like, Marge, from now on, you're banned from being snack mom. She's like, oh. And personally, I would have been like, yay, no more having to provide snacks. But I get the Marge is that her caregiver who loves doing that kind of thing. But I have a scene kind of explaining that a little bit where she's like, this is part of her identity and she loves being able to provide for people. I don't know, there's something there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you've got someone like me going, oh no, never have to make snacks for people again. Whatever will I do?
Well, it could have been kind of like that episode when she buys that fancy dress and goes to the, what is it, the golf club?
Yeah.
Could have been like that in that she's got no friends to hang out with. And that's why she wants all the mums to come.
That's why she needs these people,
Yeah.
Simple and effective.
There was something I liked about she's serving Quickie Mart products and Manjula, of all people, was fucking freaking out.
Yep.
Cow cancer, I believe she called the milk. So, yes or no, would you watch it again?
No.
I don't see a reason.
Nah. So, BT, what would you change?
Yeah, we've covered this. Come on. Give any of the plot points any meat whatsoever. I mean, it doesn't have to be organically sourced meat, but, something else going on. Just get more in-depth into your own plot and have it have some resolution and payoff and ideas or something. It's all just so surface and blah. Styrofoam.
Definitely.
Padding. Pad. Tie.
How about you, Michael? What would you like to change?
Maybe just put jokes that are actually funny.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that works well, usually, in comedies.
That's a revolutionary idea. You're going to make it somewhere in this world, boy.
Head writer of The Simpsons now.
Saturday Night Live are like, we need a kid like you. We've been doing this show for 40 years and we haven't made a single fucking joke.
Funny jokes. What were we thinking?
Another thing, Ralph coming off the slide and he actually flew.
Oh, yeah. That
Wackiness.
was weird.
What the fuck was that?
Like, it would have just been kind of funny if he was at the top of the slide and just launched so quickly he just right on the ground straight away.
Yeah.
With like a couple of frames missing. But it's just like, now he's glittering and flying a little bit. Okay.
Anything else you'd like to change? Like,
I mean, like, from the stuff that we've already talked about, I guess, like, trim the fat, get rid of the long intro, and have the writers actually do their job of, like, writing an episode rather than relying on a long-ass intro to pad out the whole episode.
Because, it was a long intro, then a long couch gag, and then even then, this was such a padded episode.
Yeah, and just go back to those plots and be like, what are we trying to say with plot A, and what are we trying to say with plot B? Are you trying to say that Bart needs to learn to, like, move on and be better and change his ways? Well, then if that's the case, then by the end of the episode, he should not want to be putting his effort into pranks and put it into something else, but explain what that is. What is the other thing he's going to put his effort into? Because it's obviously not going to be to get better grades, because we've established that in other episodes. So if he's not going to do that, what is he going to do? And then with the B plot, what are you trying to say with, do you think that mothers are sheltering their kids too much?
Because, both plots could be resolved by saying you just need to have balance. You can be a rebellious little kid who pulls pranks, but you got to get your shit together at some point. And you can be a mother who wants to provide healthy food for your kids, but there's certainly a point where you're going to be going so overboard, you're going to cause yourself more trouble than it's worth. So both points can be resolved with balance. And neither of them realize that, or the fact they have that in common never comes up.
Yeah. And what I'd change, look, I honestly want Bart and Andy to have a bit of a buddy prank shit going on where Andy's like, oh, Skinner, I haven't thought about that doofus in a long time. And then that launches into them, like, making some pranks against Skinner. And then maybe even that could be the reason, like, Lisa's like, what are you doing? Rather than it just sort of coming out of nowhere. Like, for Lisa to sort of have the evidence in front of her of, like, a prank that they've pulled on Skinner, and she's like, you're hanging out with a 19-year-old who's hanging out with a 10-year-old that's pranking his old principal from 9 years ago,
Yeah. Oh, okay. So Bart, after meeting Andy, is all like, I got to stop pranking because this is the road I'm headed on. So, but then he's like, getting withdrawals and he's kind of freaking out about it. So instead of pranking at school, he decides to prank at home, and Marge's been making all this boring-ass food.
Oh, yeah.
But the next time the kid's around, he, like, injects caramel into all their, rhubarb muffins or whatever. And then the kids eat them, and he's like, ha, I got you. But look, your kids are fine. What are you freaking out about?
Yeah.
And it's like, see, sugar doesn't harm them. And it's like, yeah, everyone learned a lesson. Yes, that's what I would do.
That's one thing I hate with these type of episodes is that the A plot never touches the B plot. Like, they're always completely separate.
Yeah, and I appreciate they don't need to necessarily tie together at the end, but at least they're in the same house.
Yeah.
Marge is theoretically making this food that the kids are allegedly eating, but we never see that. And that's even the payoff for their episode, as we said earlier, that she says, oh, we'll just make the kids eat it, but we've never seen the kids eat it.
Yeah, that's it. And yeah, it's one of these things that if you had confidence in either one of these stories, you could have pulled a full 22 minutes out of. But fuck, they were barely able to scrape 18 with both of them together. Yeah, we've pretty well covered it. BT, any other notes?
Nah, I'm drained.
Michael, any other notes?
The quicker we move on, the better, I think.
All right, well, it's time for my final notes.
Now it's time for his final notes. Elliot's final notes.
Milhouse has like a weird JD from Scrubs Nerdzilla fantasy.
Yeah, that was just went on for too long. It would have been quicker, it might have been okay, but it's also like,
Yeah, it's just a giant stereotypical nerd destroying buildings.
Yeah, because I thought it was going to be when he's all like, oh, there's a prankster even bigger than you. Imagine his sidekick. And then I was going to, like, imagine a slightly taller Milhouse.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
But yeah, it felt like, honestly, a JD from Scrubs line where, he comes back with, you're going to need a lot of gnomes. Like, thank you. That's helpful. The glue plank. The glue prank was pretty lame.
Yeah. I'll just use this glue relaxant that I found right here that's clearly tied to a string.
Yeah.
Fish heads, ay caramba.
He literally says ay caramba, and it's so fucking the. Andy pulls a fake CPR prank that is rape. Grandpa...
Jesus.
I think you class it as sexual assault, but let's not crack that particular egg.
Yeah, Andy is still an arsehole. Let's.
Yeah, no, I know. Not defending Andy. Just.
And Bart's printer ink in shampoo, like. The payoff was Grandpa's line, "I've never felt so clean," and his blue soap.
Get it? 'Cause it's ink.
I came over to this place to have a shower. Oh.
Indeed. There's a weird shot in that organic grocer of Homer picking up a hemp mag and just reading it, and it's just...
Yeah, and I thought there would be like a bit where there's like a free sample or something like that kind of joke, as you get magazines. But no, he just reads hemp. I'm like, oh, okay.
Again.
It's a magazine about weed.
And yeah, padding out the episode, Bart and Lisa's playing of Tiddlywinks.
Which I did kind of like, tiddly, wink.
Yeah.
Tiddly, wink.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that they're bored with the game, but...
Yeah, showing people being bored does not make us entertained.
Homer's little Lord of the Rings reference.
Yeah, wow, that was poignant.
In 2009.
Yeah.
They're so ahead of the curve, aren't they? Always on the button as far as what's happening in the world today.
Mm-hmm. But they did call it Lard Glug is the beverage of choice for most people these days.
Lard glug.
Lard Glug.
Lard glug. Contains neither lard nor glug.
But when Homer and Marge like clinked the champagne glasses, like ting, like it's Lard Glug. It should have gone thunk. Yeah.
Yep.
And my final note is a very, comment of Bart going, "Louie, Andy's about to ruin the show." Oh, he's about 20 seasons too late. It's time to rank this thing. On the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode is just, you give a participant. But for the positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold. But for the best of the very best, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. Participant. I think this conversation, there was no indication that I was going to give it anything but. Like, there are some good jokes here, but there's some lameness and just, it's so padded. Michael, what do you reckon?
Failure.
Oh, wow.
Hard out failure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this episode was pure cringe for me. I just kept yelling, well, as you guys know, watching it with
we heard the yelling.
I just kept yelling at the TV screen. I felt like freaking Abe. Just yelling at the screen like, what the hell is this shit? So that's a hard fail for me. I mean, these people get paid to write this shit and we can do a better job. I mean, that's saying something.
It's saying a lot.
That's saying a lot
well,
if I can do it.
It really makes me wonder how much collaboration even goes on anymore. And I think another point to that is when they're singing the 12 Days of Christmas, whatever, they're so off from each other's tone. And it's because they're probably not even recording at the same time in the same studio. Because, was it Hank Azaria, I think, just has his own recording booth, or one of the other ones. I can't remember which.
Harry Shearer
has one in his own house.
The main family all record together.
Yeah, but I mean, when you don't have people recording at the same time, when you're trying to harmonize, it's going to sound terrible.
Oh, no, the main family all record together.
All right. Well, I'm going to shut up and leave. Goodbye.
Well, first of all, what's your rank?
Participant. I'm going to forget this one. It's not egregious enough for me to hate it. I got some laughs out of it, but some of it is just so boring. And it just, padding. It is just padded to death.
Ding. All right, cool. Well, averaging out, that'll equal a dull participant. This will be joining other such dull participants as It's a Mad, 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 Mad Marge from season 11.
When Marge goes mad?
Yeah. It'll also be joining Husbands and Knives, that weird Homer gets plastic surgery one. It's one of those ones where it's a bad episode where a very popular meme comes from, where Homer's skin is all pegged at the back of him.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll also be joining Puffless when Patty and Selma quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And Maggie has that weird B story where the Disney rescuing thing.
Right. I was wondering what else happened in that thing.
Yeah. The Great Fatsby Part 1.
We were so optimistic on that one.
Yep. And The Girl on the Bus, which we reviewed in our Season 30 Wasteland episode recently.
So boring.
So
boring.
All right. Now, before we move on, is that reputation justified?
Is that reputation justified?
No talking heads this week?
Nah.
That was a good one. IGN's Robert Canning.
Ooh. I got no puns for Canning.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, wait. Yeah, shit. I'm so fucking out of it today.
It's recording early in the morning.
Yeah,
man.
no, Robert the Feather Touch Canning.
He gave it a very nice 6.9 out of 10.
Of course he did.
This episode had a good start, but veered into less than impressive direction, and Marge's storyline, while cute in parts, was really just filler more than anything else.
I mean, that's very accurate. So
why did he give it a 6.9?
Guess he's the Feather Touch.
I mean, 6.9 isn't a great ranking. Like, it's just a step above average.
Again, for IGN, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. And Todd Vanderwerf of the AV Club.
Oh, what's a Vanderwerf?
He gave it a B, which this is like bronze territory for them. Not a bad setup for an episode. Wow, mirroring Robert Canning. Particularly as Bart shenanigans are one of the few things the show does consistently anymore, but it just never felt like Andy and Bart's story went anywhere.
Yep, again, correct.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, they've given them surprisingly generous rankings, like, and we've sort of agreed with their comments.
Weird.
Yeah. All right, now let's move on to the teens era where the Skinner theme is going to be a bit more solidified when we go watch Skinner's Sense of Snow. Oh, wow, a little bit of a Christmas theme going on here.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
Ta-ta.
And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 12, Episode 8, good time signature, Skinner's Sense of Snow.
God damn you.
First released in December of 2000, it was directed by Lance Kramer, written by Tim Long. In this episode, Springfield Elementary is the only school that's going to be open for a snow day, and they accidentally get trapped inside the school and mob rule, I guess. Guys, what do we think?
Tim Long?
Great.
Yeah.
What happened, Tim? What happened to you?
This actually happened to Tim Long, apparently.
What, this getting snowed in?
Yeah,
I meant,
yeah.
like, why did he go from being able to write an episode like this to being awful?
The Gaga episode, yeah.
What happened, Tim? Who hurt you?
Well, yeah, apparently when he pulls from his life, he does a lot better because, yeah, this was a story that happened to him when he was a kid, that his school, got snowed in, and he said, it didn't quite descend into
Lord of the Flies.
They
But,
they didn't tie up their principal in a ball sack.
Get him out.
It's him out.
No, but like apparently, they just got snowed in by accident, and they had to sort of camp in there for a day. And fathers of the school kids were like, bring them food, and actually, the way he says it was like a sweet bonding story for them. But
Okay, but not this madness.
no. But speaking of the madness, so Michael, starting with you, for better or worse, what's something that stands out to you about this episode?
Skinner being in a ball sack, I guess. Like being tied up and that he can't break out.
Yeah.
And that bit near the end when he asked the hamster to like
Chew through my ball sack.
chew through my ball sack.
There's some excellent fucking pun work going on here.
Yeah. And that other joke really stood out to me. The one where Lou was like
Shaking
shaking
out Wiggum's coffee.
Yeah, get out the last bit for me there, Lou.
All right.
Seems like a wasted coffee.
Man, they hang on like for a very long time.
Oh, it's so good.
And I was thinking, God, if this was the first time watching it, you'd go, man, Wiggum is very dehydrated.
I know, his piss is brown. That's a worry. See a doctor.
Yeah.
Although I guess if your skin is yellow, maybe that's normal. I don't know. What are the rules in this world? I don't know.
Yeah, true. How about you, BT? What's something that stands out to you from this episode?
I really like the Cirque de Puree. So even though it's the fuck you open where it's a hard turn, at least it ties in because they're like, oh, there's a big storm, maybe school's going to be closed tomorrow. But everything in that is still kind of wacky and fun. Like I do like the cadence of Homer's, who will help me open my jar of rainbows? Just smash it open.
But I am just a local merchant from
this town. They always choose the guy with the wires.
Yeah.
That was all really good. And then, the whimsy of they made an elephant. Later on, they make a kite and fly into a tree. And it's all fun. And there are a lot of kind of John Swartzweldian misdirects in this one because he is creative consultant. So I like all these places are closed. Springfield Elementary, My Dear Watson Detective School.
Yeah.
That's really great. And I had a lot of fun with the beginning of this one. Also, there's a moment where Homer says, when the circus is abandoning, and Homer says, no, I paid full price. You have to nourish the child within me. Nourish.
Yeah.
So we now have a Nourishing Children playlist from that one, metaphorically, and the previous one, which was about feeding kids healthily.
Oh, yeah.
as well as a sort of Xmas theme, sort of.
Yeah, and the other tie I noticed is a bit of a CO poisoning playlist.
Poisoning.
Yeah. I will say, actually, that Nourish joke didn't land, and the other joke from the opening section that didn't land for me was the sea captain being tied to the tree by teenage pirates. I don't know why this was there.
Just, in sailing times, you'd batten down and tie yourself to the mast.
Ah.
I know what this was. The writers were like, we got to put Sea Captain in this many appearances each season. And they were like, okay, shit. We've got one episode left. We got to squeeze him in somewhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think the writers do think that sometimes that just having the sea captain there is inherently funny. I didn't know it was actually based on a thing, so I guess it kind of improves it, but yeah.
Slightly.
Yeah.
You didn't like it, you didn't like it.
Yeah. And I'm going to say the thing that stands out to me is, Skinner sort of pulling authority in this episode. And I found, especially at the time, this episode sort of refreshing because so much of Skinner was either being, the whipping boy for his mother or a love story with Edna. And this episode, sort of took both of them out of the picture and had Skinner rising to the occasion. And I, found all that very impressive and a nice little throwback.
Very refreshing. And we all know, like, Edna's busy at the emergency caucus.
Caucus. Yeah, so I really liked Skinner. And also seeing the flashback to how much of a dork he was in Nam as well. We're just going to stay here and reminisce about candy bars.
Okay, so this one time, I'm eating a candy bar, and this chick starts taking her bathing suit off.
Your mind better get back onto that candy bar. That elephant ate my entire platoon.
Brutal.
Yeah. So I thought it was a good turn, especially with Bart usurping him. And it's a very silly episode, but
it's a lot of fun. Yeah. There's a great pace, great momentum.
Yeah. For real. Play count. How many times before today do you think you've seen this episode?
Probably 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, a lot. I've said before that, season 12 is one of my favorite seasons of the teens era. And this one just fits in so nicely for me. Wackiness!
Oh my. They cut off Flanders' roof to use as a snowplow. Somehow.
But this is my car. Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah. The movie Skinner is showing goes from 7:45 in the morning to when school would be out at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's a long goddamn movie.
Those old movies were like that, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, if you ever actually watch Citizen Kane, who has 2 days?
You're thinking of Gone with the Wind.
Oh, yeah.
That too, I guess.
I've never seen either.
I know.
Or attempted. I probably should, right?
They'll eventually remake it with Will Smith and you won't have to worry.
But I love the title as well. The Christmas that almost wasn't, but then was.
Just giving it all away in the title.
Yeah. And this bit looked fantastic as well, had they had like the film grain and the scratchiness. And also the bad sets.
Oh, yeah. Everything that you've seen in a bad old movie with no budget comes out beautifully here.
Yeah.
Like the cardboard cutouts of the reindeers, the stagehand wandering on.
And the horrible lyrics. I love you, and you are you, and me and me.
He's been singing for 2 hours.
And I love that, when you see the film start to burn in the classic film, so, I should have bought a DVD.
This is a DVD.
Excellent misdirect.
Yeah, this would have been when DVDs first came out too, right?
Yeah, in 2000.
Yeah.
At least definitely starting to become the commonplace at the time. Remember when? When we owned things.
When they were worth something.
Yeah. Yeah, so any other wackiness from this episode stands out to y'all?
Bart's wrist is a cement mixer.
Oh my God.
Yep. But hey, it's a good reference.
Yeah.
And just the background joke when they're in the permanent records and Bart's like, look, I'm throwing paper.
Yeah. And when Milhouse tries to destroy the permanent record and it puts itself together, it just goes back into the drawer.
Yep. Permanent means permanent.
Yeah. There is a lot of wackiness in this episode as well, like the perceptiveness of some of the characters. Chalmers being, do I smell burning literature?
Yeah. Or then when Lisa's like, sounded like a silo tipping over. Yeah. That specific sense power.
Sodium chloride.
Just gets a savage beating for that one.
Jesus, Martin, just say salt next time.
Destroyed. Just tackled. Oh, man, I laughed so hard at that.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's wackiness per se, but there's a great little bit. It's like, there better be a good explanation for this. There is, I'm happy.
Yeah. Just knowing that there's a good explanation was enough for Chalmers.
And it works for the episode because we don't need to sit there and listen to the characters recap this for another character.
Yeah.
So just a one and done, you get a joke and you move on.
And other wackiness as well. Yeah, the CO2 hallucinations and the ending. Honk! Honk!
Don't listen to her. We have each other.
So yeah, that's creepy. So Homer was...
To be fair, he's high as fuck.
Yeah.
And because it's CO, it's carbon monoxide, dioxide, whichever one, he is technically dying as well.
Yeah.
So if you're high as fucking dying, you may also think a family member is... No, I can't even finish it.
Much like the stagehand wandering on with the coffees, it's a big Game of Thrones reference right there.
Is he so high that he even forgets he's married to Marge? Because he wouldn't cheat on
He thought he
Marge.
was like a sultan with a ranch dressing hose.
Man,
You know.
there's a really good out of context gif to post there of him getting sprayed
I
with the ranch
thought about
dressing. Stay tuned for the gifs on the Simpsons Index social media pages. Oh, actually, Briggs, you know the rapper Briggs?
No.
He's a good rapper and he wrote for Disenchantment
He's
as well.
a rap person? Okay.
He's in a band called AB Original.
Ah, okay, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Mostly because they have one song where they just repeat their own name, and it's like, well, now I know. That's brand recognition.
Oh, that is what rappers are doing, aren't they?
That's what they've always done.
Huh, there you
Especially
go.
Naughty by Nature. They did it all the time.
Yeah. I was just about to say, can you imagine Metallica doing that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, there is a song where they do say their own name.
Really?
Yeah, it's one from Kill 'Em All. It's an early one. Like,
Oh, yeah. Well, at least that was early, and, they had to get the name out there by having a song with their name in it.
yeah, it's a song literally about playing metal, and like one of the last lines is, yeah, and we're Metallica.
By the way, in case you didn't realize, we're Metallica.
But yeah, musical moments from this episode. Yeah, you never heard Guns N' Roses going, "Welcome to the jungle, we are Guns N' Roses."
That name again is Guns N' Roses.
And they had that other song as well. I feel I'm making love
Oh,
to
yeah.
you.
Bad Company, apparently. Did
Is it?
Flanders go, did you really write it, Homer?
That was a weird
Yeah.
bit. When he's like, yeah, it's about Lady Di. He's like, what the fuck? What? Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of the Homer Flanders stuff really doesn't make any sense. And is in a different episode, I think would be really stand out as being quite bad because it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then they crash and then get stuck in the fire hydrant. But the way they get out of that is they
Yeah.
just get out of it. Like Nibbles does somehow, a hamster will manage to crack through the windshield. And that's how they get air, fair enough. But then the car starts working at the exact same time. Like, these things weren't related.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't make sense to me either. And I think it's just one of these things where you're having so much fun that you forgive it.
Halo
Like,
effect.
yeah, the Skinner school story is working for the most part as well. That's paced really well. That, yeah, you sort of forgive the, slightly convenient stuff of the Homer Flanders stuff saving the day.
Also, how long were they driving for? Because the kids, like, in the school, and I think they start driving around about that time. Then they go to bed. Then they wake up.
Oh, yeah.
It's been hours. It's been maybe like somewhere between 6 to 10 hours.
Yeah, so if it wasn't like carbon monoxide poisoning, which, yeah, definitely enough time for that to fucking kill them, then, yeah, the hypothermia would have gotten them as well.
A lot of problems here.
Yeah.
But again, you're having a good enough time. I only really noticed it on this watch through, so...
Yep. And there's definitely more wackiness to go through, but how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
Oh, there's that nice little understanding between Skinner and Bart at the end. It was like, you did some shit, I did some shit, let's just call it quits.
Yeah, not like a lot of heart, but it's still more than the last episode, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the best moment of heart was honk. I'm just going to start throwing that out
Yeah,
when I'm
there was
bored
some-
now.
Some definite heart going on between Homer and his little hallucination.
Oh, yeah.
His ranch dressing hose.
Yeah.
I do like when Flanders like, Homer, wake up. The car's filling with, I know, ranch dressing.
Yeah. Yeah, so not much to say on the heart, but ultimately, though, guys, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
I will say yes.
Definitely.
Very teens era,
Yeah.
very silly.
Very silly, but still a lot of fun. So
Yeah. Oh, so many good jokes. And, like, it played to the character's strengths, I thought. Like I said earlier, we see a Skinner that is a bit of a throwback to an older
Yeah.
Skinner.
that authoritarian we don't really see anymore.
Yeah. And the classic going against Bart. That great dynamic.
We do have a bit of a Jordan's handle corner.
Jordan's corner.
It's so weird when you just say Jordan's corner. That's confusing. I don't like.
Would you prefer he say Jordan's anal?
I mean, it's the correct term for the thing.
Yeah.
It's like calling New York City New City. It's just like, what? Why would you know?
I'll put a post-production anal in there. Anyway.
Honk. So Skinner gets nibbles out and then writes a note that just says send help, but he has no detail. So someone finds out, like, okay, where? I don't know where this hamster came from.
Yeah. It's like sending a message in a bottle and just, I'm stranded.
I would like some assistance, please.
Yeah. Dumb Skinner.
Yep, doesn't even know. I mean, yeah, he's probably tired and dehydrated and starving and had a pee bucket in his head, but still. Honk.
Yeah, anything else to say about the integrity of this episode? Characters behaving like themselves and...
Yeah, like I said, it all makes sense. I do like what would Superintendent Chalmers do? Just Skinner! Well, that's no help.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get those wristbands, WWSICD.
Yep.
And we'll make a mint on those.
I do like the throwback to the Mr. Plow thing. What happened to your old plow?
What?
Your old plow business. You're wearing the jacket.
I think I know my own life, Ned.
Cool, Mr. Plow. That's my name. Yeah, I think the integrity thing's pretty cut and dry. I mean, it's not your classic sort of Simpsons, but it's goddamn fun. But and yes or no, would you watch it again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yes, I would.
Just for the ending alone, I would watch it again.
That's so fucking weird. I always found it weird that, yeah, Lisa was in the car and then she sort of appeared outside the car. But, I mean...
Yeah, that is weird to say. Merry Christmas from The Simpsons. Honk! Like fourth wall break out of nowhere. And a honk.
I find it weirder that it's only Bart's grade that's in the school.
Yeah.
It's somewhat alluded to that they've just kind of collated all the students who came to the one class because there's like some other kids that clearly aren't supposed to, like Lisa's there and she's not supposed to.
Yeah, that's true. She's from another grade.
Yeah.
But no, you're right, like where it's mostly comprised of Bart's class because they're the more recognizable ones, Sherry, Terry, Richard, Lewis, and
yeah, but Ralph
Nelson.
is in Lisa's class as well.
Yeah.
So.
But it's like the students of Bob's Burgers effect where, like, do you watch Bob's Burgers, Michael?
I've watched like a handful of episodes. I don't really like it, to be honest.
Oh, really? Oh, I love it. But yeah, one of my like little
gripes.
Yeah, with it is that, yeah, conveniently Tina, Jean, and Louise are always paired in school things, but they're all
in three different grades.
And like 2 years apart as well. And it doesn't make sense. And usually when they're on school excursions and whatever, it's just, yeah, it's a tedious little gripe and like a, but whatever. So yeah, we're going to watch it again. We're going to put it in a playlist. What playlist does this go in?
Being snowed in. So put this with Mountains of Madness.
Oh, yeah.
Bart versus Skinner.
Yeah. Classic Bart and Skinner rivalries.
Yep. Have you got a playlist of like Homer and Ned like team up or something like that?
Sure.
Yeah, there's a fun little Homer and Ned playlist to be made out of that.
Vietnam flashbacks.
Yes.
Oh,
let's put together Skinner's whole story.
I wonder if that's something you can do, like when they put together all the McBain segments.
I feel like someone's probably done it.
Yeah, basically make a version of Platoon, but with Skinner's.
Tragic, sad, powerful.
Then when you play the Tanzarian sections, it'll just be so...
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Episode where Homer has flags about the thing that he's watching.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, the penance playlist, TV sports, and how he has a little bucket of them on hand next to the couch.
Fall season, and yeah, it makes sense. He's got a whole bucket of them. I like it.
Yeah.
I made one once for a wedding that just said "Go Bride." It's fun.
Oh, good fun. Yeah, that's enough playlist. BT, is there anything you'd like to change about this episode?
Ooh, well, that's the thing, because the parts I technically don't like are the Flanders Homer stuff, which doesn't actually work, but then I didn't notice it didn't work until this viewing.
Yeah.
So it does work in that sense, so I don't know if I necessarily want to change anything. Maybe just delay when they leave, and then cut that scene where he's talking about he wrote that song, because that makes no sense. What is even going on there? I get the point is, when they're playing Bad Company, he's like, you actually wrote this? He was like, why is that there? I get that he's meant to be distracted, and that's why he drives into the fire hydrant, but it's also snowy as fuck. He could just be, all you need is Flanders going, Homer, you need to slow down. It's like, nah, I'm good, smash.
Yeah.
Just clean that up a little bit. Outside of that, I don't think anything else really needs changing. Nope, all good, I think. Other than, Bart yelling Diddy Mao as a reference to the Deer Hunter, so maybe put in some more references to the Deer Hunter.
Yeah, that's a, like, when you know the reference.
Oh, yeah. So maybe he's playing like Russian roulette. Was like one of these sauce bottles was expired in, 1993. The others are okay. You have to, I don't know. It's a bad reference. I'm not getting paid for this.
Or got 2 straws. One of them has a spitball in it.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Michael? Anything you'd like to change?
I would just make it make more sense how they got out of the car being frozen.
Yep.
Just figure out a different way for them to get out of there.
Yeah, just have it be a bit more that Nibbles did save them rather than just coincidentally showed up at the same time.
Yeah, that's about it. Because I really like this episode.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where I don't feel qualified to change anything, which, like, there are some jokes that didn't entirely land for me, and...
Yeah, but they just kind of pass so quickly that it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. No guest stars for this music. Yeah, musical moments. Yeah, Bad Company and Guns N' Roses. Good. Hear some rock and roll.
Why, that's some good company.
Did you write the last episode?
I'll never tell. I am Tim Long.
BT, any other notes?
All right. I do like at the beginning with the sports center kind of show where they're all making fun of each other's clothes and the guy walks in, from now on, you guys can dress yourselves. Like, yeah, we take it too far sometimes. And then he calls up like, Lenny, you seeing this? I know, they really hurt that guy's feelings. Wow.
No, it is a funny bit because, they're not wearing their clothes from home ever. Like,
yeah, naturally. I do really like the line of stand down, children. They're all like, I said stand down. Then like Ralph's on 1 foot.
Some just fall in confusion.
Yeah, I think of that every time I hear the word stand down. I'm like, eh?
Yeah.
That always reminds me of that other joke they did in that other episode where they're like, no talking, no listening. You hear me?
Boy?
No. It's like, you just don't learn.
And one last one, if we can get some James Earl Ralph, that'll be great. When Ralph is like, I need my snuggle bunny. He's like, those are a plush toy? Well, take this scouring pad.
I can't sleep without my Reggie rabbit.
Yep, and we need it's cold and hurty.
Hold on, I need a drink of water first. Low, low, low. It's cold and hurty.
I'm looking forward to hearing that in the Lion King remake.
As unnecessary as the Aladdin remake. Oh my God, okay. On Facebook last night, I saw, how people check in when they're seeing the movies or whatever. A guy I know from uni checked in to see Aladdin, and his status was, I may be biased, but there will only be one Robbie Williams. So first of all, it's not really a bias, is it? Like,
if you're getting it wrong.
So just to be a smart ass, because Robin Williams, not Robbie Williams, posted a picture of Robbie Williams singing at a concert. It's like R.I.P.
Yeah. You should have said there'll be only one like Aladdin genie.
Yeah,
and then
But it's not a bias, But also, there's probably tons of Robin Williamses out. Anyway, that bothered me way more than it should have. Was that all your notes?
That is all my notes.
Michael, any other notes?
That's the last time you'll slap your willy around.
Yeah, like I said, pun work in this episode is fucking amazing.
Oh, the snow angel.
There was some wackiness.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
It was also a weird line at the circus when one of the guys was like, for one day we shall die.
And then just disappears into his own cape.
Yep, you never done that before?
No, I mean, does that happen?
Not for a while.
Cirque du Soleil shows as
That's
well.
why you wear capes. Why else would you do it?
I know you can use it to disappear into the night, as in, I am the night.
The Dark Knight. Yes.
You become the night. Yes.
That's what I thought Batman originally meant. Like, I am the night, not K-N-I-M.
Yeah, he probably meant both. He's like, it's some pretty good wordplay there, because I'm like the night and the night. It's good. You'll get it later.
Yeah. I don't know. Batman hasn't been all about those puns ever since, he punched people and giant crazy flashes
Pow,
would
Zort,
appear.
hurt, injury.
Martha!
Oh, that's something you got to recut into Batman versus Superman when they say Martha. Yeah, flash up with the flash.
Zoink.
The flash.
Deus Ex.
Martha. Oh shit.
Deus Ex Martha.
Yeah, time for my final notes. I like how Sideshow Mel can tell a storm's coming because he can feel it in his bone. It's like a little reference to how old people have that magical superpower.
Yeah, also he can see it because it's clearly visual at this point.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't notice it first. It happened, and then he said it. Way to try to milk it, Mel.
Sideshow Milk. Typical Simpsons, writing off the obvious solution with a bit of silliness. Mr. Burns bought all the snowplows so he could play plow soccer in his mansion.
Sounds amazing.
Great form.
Now, this is a joke that I liked at the time, but it really didn't land for me here is, oh my God, how are the kids going to get home? Internet? Yeah, I don't know. I found it a bit lame this time.
Call it time and place, man. Like, this is an era when the internet was starting to do everything.
And DVDs were the hot new format.
Yeah. So the idea, it's not amazing, but screw it.
I don't care if they're kissing Christy Yamaguchi. Do you guys know who Christy Yamaguchi is?
No, who is that?
She was an Olympic-level figure skater.
That's what I thought. And she does, like, backflips, and backflips are illegal for some reason.
Really?
Yeah.
In figure skating?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, man. It's too cool. They're all like, you can't be that radical. And she's like, watch me.
Yeah. Like the amount of like weird fucking twisty side flips that they do, but
backflips not allowed.
Yeah. Oh, that just lands weird for me. It's like how the WWE don't allow chair shots to the head anymore. And it's like they were never hitting their heads. They'd always, push their hands up and make it.
There was always the tough guys that would just be like, no, I'm going to take it on the head and not protect myself.
Yeah. But no, I've been watching a bit of WWE lately, and like now they don't even have like the old steel barriers between the crowd. It's just like this big giant padding thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you watching it? Are you purposely torturing yourself for a reason?
I like the silliness of it all. It's like a soap opera,
Well,
I mean, like, I used to love WWE, but like, I just can't watch it now. It's just so shit.
Yeah. No, there's a lot about it that doesn't work, but like the pay-per-views are like good fun.
Yeah. Well, if you want to feel sad, Last Week Tonight do a very good episode on it. So.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Feel sad.
But that's the other thing. I'm not paying for it. Like,
what did Last Week Tonight say?
They're just talking about how because the WWE, in particular Vince McMahon, employ their wrestlers as contractors effectively.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're not employees. Therefore, they don't have to give them like
health benefits
and paid vacations. Yeah. And the WWE season is like year round. And if the physical toll on people is so immense that, a lot of them die really, really young. They have like a graph of the death rate of like the average person and the death rate of like other jobs, and then like the death rate of former wrestlers is like way higher. It's really scary.
Yeah, because like they end up taking painkillers because if they get injured and they have to be off the road, then
they just lose all their money. And
and the writers are like, well, we're not going to write any stories about that person, and then they lose all the momentum.
Yeah, and then so they just have to keep going and going, and then putting in massive physical risk. And none of the fights are real technically, but they're still physically doing all these stunts, and it's hard. And it's a really interesting look at it, and very depressing.
Oh man, like Ronda Rousey, who's a UFC fighter, she can't handle the schedule, so she's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, she had a main event at WrestleMania and dropped out.
Oh, really?
I mean, like, that says a lot when a UFC fighter's like,
someone who is used to training and fighting constantly is like, I can't handle the schedule. That's insane.
Yeah. So I shouldn't really support this thing, but I don't. I don't pay money for the WWE that I watch.
You're still supporting it, technically.
Support AEW.
Yeah, Double or Nothing. I got that on my download queue now. Very keen to check that out. So yeah, Christy Yamaguchi. I love the joke where Milhouse is graffitiing all the presidents, drawing mustaches on, and then he comes to Taft and he's like,
it's a classic.
What
do I do?
Oh no, we're caked in ice. I knew I was going to die caked in something.
Mm-hmm.
I love the kids thinking that Skinner's a millionaire because he earns 25 grand a year.
Yeah. Painful.
And he paints houses.
He's a billionaire.
Whoa. Which, hold on, even if... times 40 does equal 1 million. Okay, fair enough. I was about to question Bart's math there, but for once he was right.
Wow.
Homer doing the cruise control thing, I thought that was like too stupid. And also they've done it before. Cruise control, my good man. And finally, I like Flanders' line, does your car have airbags? No, the church opposes them for some reason.
It's simple, yeah.
Excellent. It's time to rank this thing. Michael, go first.
I'll give it a silver.
Yeah? Solid silver.
Yeah. the episode moves so fast that like those nitpicky things that we talked about aren't really that big of a deal.
Yep.
And I have so much fun with it, and it ends on such a laugh that, yeah, I like it.
Cool. PT?
Yeah, I'm all the silver all the way. It's not an amazing episode, but I had some laughs, it had some good momentum, had a good time, good fun.
Yep, unanimous. Here it goes. Like, I sort of going through my notes sort of helped solidify that for me. Like, there are some dull moments in it, and I could see why someone would get a bit annoyed at this episode, maybe. Like, maybe if you were in a bad mood, it wouldn't land as well. But, I mean, yeah, we had a really good time with it this morning. Lots of laugh out loud moments, but, I mean, far from a classic, but, a fucking excellent teens episode. Yeah. All right, well, averaging out, this will be a silver. God damn it, why do I keep doing this?
It's still technically an average, even if it's all the same number.
Yeah. But it'll be joining other such episodes like Pygmalion, when Mo gets plastic surgery.
Oh, that was a good episode.
That's a silver.
Yep. From the HD era, Lisa Simpson, This Isn't Your Life.
That's a silver.
Yeah, it's one of our top-ranked HD era episodes, which is saying something. Also be joining the classic era episode, Marge in Chains.
Ooh, you better believe that's a silver.
Yeah, the one where Marge goes to prison.
Is that because of that Vicky girl?
Nah, not Becky.
Sorry, Becky.
That's a mad Marge.
Oh, fuck it. Yeah, that was a dull participant.
No, it's where she accidentally steals the bourbon from the Quickie Mart when all the family is sick.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Miss Sheriff Lobo.
Morphine.
An episode comprised of great bits, but it's just a scattershot of a story. And also, Milhouse doesn't live here anymore, where Milhouse moves to Capital City and then comes back quickly.
That's accurate.
And also C.E. Dole, where Homer takes over the top position of the nuclear power plant from Canary M. Burns. Yeah, a surprisingly good Teens Era episode one. All right, guys, well, that does it for the Teens and the HD. Now it is time that we move on to our classic era.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And what a classic that we have lined up. I already told you what it is, Michael, but from a sort of vaguely Skinner-ish playlist, BT, what do you think this one might be?
Man, what haven't we done? We've done, Principal Seymour Skinner's badass song. And we've done Principal and the Pauper. No, we haven't. Okay, no, I was thinking of the other one, Principal Charming. What else is left?
Actually, this is a unique one where we get a bit of a Skinner and a Bart and also a Skinner and a Homer in this one episode.
Fascinating. What is it?
Are you so out of touch?
Yeah.
And it clicks. We'll be watching The Boy Who Knew Too Much. We'll be back.
That took too long. Please cut that down.
I always do. And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode of the evening, and what a classic it was. It's still daytime. We just watched Season 5, Episode 20, The Boy Who Knew Too Much. First released in May of 1994, it was directed by Jeffrey Lynch, written by... John Swartzwelder!
The guy that can write stories.
Yeah.
Properly.
And what a story he wrote in this episode. Oh, come on, you know there's one this when Bart plays hooky from school and he sees the Freddie Quimby boy not beat up a waiter and then holds that guilt and trials. And oh my god, fuck, this episode's amazing. What do you guys think?
This episode's fucking amazing.
It's amazing.
My goodness.
It's a platinum rocket ship of happiness.
It's just non-stop. Like, Bart made that joke about his hand becoming a cement mixer after writing lines. Fucking hell, note-taking this episode was...
It was almost rewriting the script.
Yeah.
It was so many just moment after moment after moment.
Let's get into those moments. Michael, what stands out to you from this episode?
Oh, fuck. What doesn't? I mean... the Arnold Schwarzenegger joke about Last Action Hero is like...
Magic ticket my ass, McBain.
There were problems with the script from day one.
My mighty heart is breaking.
Marie... What is his name?
I'll be in the Humvee.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's obviously got to be Maria Shriver,
Yep.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife.
Back when they were a thing.
I don't know why everyone shits on that movie. I actually like that movie.
Like, because I haven't seen it. So what is the whole magic ticket thing?
A young boy who's troubled at school finds a magic ticket that puts him into the movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's then in the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. As long as you can get past that goofy premise, there's a lot of good fun to be had in it. At least from what I remember, having seen it maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It just makes fun of like action movies.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when the kid goes into the movie, it's like, this isn't Arnold Schwarzenegger, this is the actual character.
Yeah, right.
So like they go to the video store and it's like there's a Terminator 2 poster, but instead of it being Arnold Schwarzenegger, because of the universe, it's Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, right.
Like they do heaps of cool little witty changes that I actually like.
And features a younger Charles Dance as the main antagonist.
Who would then become...
famous actor who's in Game of Thrones. But he's just very, very stern and British.
Oh, all
so
right.
it's a lot of fun to watch him in like a cheesy action flick.
Oh, you were asking what else stood out to me. Skinner like walking across like Jason Voorhees
into
style.
the lake.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole music in that entire section.
And just all the Ferris Bueller references.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, your ass is mine. And it's like, where would a school kid be? Of course.
Yeah.
The public library or the museum, whatever it was. Yeah.
4-H Club. And yeah, of course, breeding the very famous Am I So Out of Touch meme.
Which is just beautiful. He's like some non-giving up school guy. One of my favorites. And just the music sting at that point as well is amazing when they're both climbing the mountains. Got the dun, 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 dun,
yeah, and the drum beat is like...
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. So good.
So apparently this whole chase sequence is actually a reference to the movie Westworld, not to be confused with the TV series Westworld.
Oh, right. I have not seen the movie Westworld.
Yeah.
Me neither.
And yeah, apparently they reached out to get the music from that, and yeah, that is directly from...
well, that's amazing. It works so well. It's so dramatic and tense and
But yeah, dramatic in that like 70s, early 80s, like sort of super synthy, Yeah, throwing back to, even a Jason Voorhees movie as well. Like,
especially how the settings like change. Like, first Bart's running downhill, then he's running across like this weird bridge. Like, none of it makes sense geographically.
But it looks good.
But it looks hilarious. But it's just so funny because it's so over the top.
And apparently him running down the hill is reused footage from Camp Krusty episode.
I thought so.
Yeah, because it just slightly changes color palette and he looks a little bit ragged like he did in Camp Krusty.
Is that when the boulders are coming down?
Yeah. How about you, BT? What stands out to you from this episode?
Oh, man, what doesn't stand out?
I know. I'm just going to throw a dart at my notes when it comes time.
Yeah, pretty much. But that, again, this is another classic episode, and what they do is front load the whole episode with just so many jokes that you're just having an amazing time before you even get to the first act break. I just love Bart's day off in general. It's like, were there any serious bids for this painting? No. That's just what Springfield is like.
Especially like, the little boy with the runny nose, and then, the actual grown-up laughing in the same way that Bart did. Oh.
Yeah, I love Skinner and Willie's interrogation of Lisa. It's like, you guys got confused a few minutes back. Now you're the good cop and you're the bad cop.
No, we did not.
I can't control him when he gets like this.
You switched again. But,
just her laugh there.
It's so cute.
It's so endearing. Like, she obviously doesn't know anyway. And just from a structural standpoint, I really like that. So Bart gets into class, and it's immediately... So you've got the prison bus with The Shining and Otto. That's a great moment. The posturific chairs from posturologists that'll cure their backs by 2030.
The year 3000.
Oh, sorry, it is year 3000.
Yeah.
God damn. And then the clock tamper kits, all these kind of piles upon piles of just terrible things. And you get that great moment of Freddie Quimby's nephew driving up to the... stopping and go, think I got all of this from dropping out of the 4th grade. And it's like, you don't know this guy's going to be a part of it yet. It's just some random guy who's living the high life, and that's what tips Bart over the edge. And the fact that then ties in later is it's very effective and it works. Yeah.
Oh, the amount of foreshadowing and callbacks in this, like... Even when Bart has his fantasy of Huck Finn and inexplicably Abe Lincoln's there. And I love that he spells his name wrong, forgets the silent L.
Yep.
Like, because I have a brother named Lincoln, and that just constantly happens to him throughout his life.
Yeah, fair.
More that happens to him than people fucking add the extra T to my name, which, why are you doing that? Why is your name Elliot? Fucking 1T Elliots all the way.
But my last point, and I want to quickly make this, is the great moment of Skinner. And now we enter Endgame, which... I'm assuming there's going to be a Spider-Verse style crossover with Endgame. With Skinner in it. Yeah.
Marvel planned it all along.
All along, the time with the Simpsons.
Exactly.
All from 1991.
But before I got lost on my name tangent there. So Bart's fantasy with Huck Finn, and then when he does play hooky, and then he sees the vague silhouette, could it be? And then, hey kid, want to see a dead body?
Great.
And I love how when he's running away, he actually did catch a fish on his little tow line.
Just dragging it with him.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Fucking, oh, my goodness. So, yeah, literally, I'm just going to point at something random. That's going to be what stood out to me. Homer's glasses.
Such an iconic moment. So damn funny.
Yeah. And that he brings it back to Marge at the end when she's like, hey, we had our own adventure while you were gone.
I want to hear all about it.
Yeah. But, yeah, bringing into that as well, I like how Homer sort of, on the surface, played it as a 12 Angry Men thing where he was the one objector.
The one standing out, but it was because of the, free TV, free movies, free hotel. And just the lead into that as well is amazing with the, what does sequestered mean? What does deadlock mean? What does if mean?
I like how Skinner had a nice little definition of if then.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't remember what it was, but...
in event that or on condition that.
Ah, there we go. Yeah. So, yeah, it's like a nice little play on the 12 Angry Men thing where, it's the one person standing out. Maybe we should consider all the evidence and maybe this boy is innocent. And it's just, no, he's doing it for selfish reasons. Oh, yeah. And that's why we had Chinese food for lunch.
Just happens to be right, yeah.
Play count. How many times before today have we seen this episode?
All the times?
Probably like 15, 20 times.
Yeah, look, I couldn't put a number, maybe in the hundreds. Like season 5, 6, 7, this is like my prime.
Yeah.
Taping it off TV and watching it a million times over. This is, up there with my favorites. Fucking had such a good time watching this. Wackiness. What are some wacky things that stood out to us?
Everything Skinner during that chase sequence.
Yeah. His brand of gum, Doublemint. Trying to double your fun, hey Bart. Well, I'll double your detention.
Wish someone had heard that.
Yeah, wish someone had heard that playlist. There you go, Homer. The cleverest thing you'll ever say, and no one was around to hear it.
Reading Homer and Skinner's thoughts, and it's like, I know you can read my thoughts, Bart.
Meow, 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 meow.
Yep. Oh, classic.
Who hasn't done that?
And it's one of these things where it's a very American advertising reference, but we don't have Meow Mix in Australia.
But we still know how that bit goes.
Yep. Yeah, they do a good one in Malcolm in the Middle as well, where, like, Malcolm, he's jealous that Dewey has abilities in music and Malcolm the genius does not. Yeah. And so when he writes a song and he's like, he writes a really heartfelt ballad, and then Dewey points out that he stole the melody from the Meow Mix. It's such a good bit. Oh.
Beautiful. Wackiness. Let's see. Freddie Quimby's just instant murderiness. So it's just, I'll kill you. I'll kill all of you, especially those of you in the jury.
Yeah, it's sort of a weird turn in this episode where he's meant to be innocent, I thought.
Yeah, but it's just he's a despicable person. There's a great line earlier on when... May Quimby's all like, happy birthday, and may all your disgraces be private.
Yep. And then when Bart does jump in the car, and it's like, Freddie, I think I heard something in the back.
I'm not paying you to talk.
Those Quimby children are so wild and rich.
But that joke, it seems like nothing, but it sets up perfectly that he's such an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well done.
Yeah, it's establishing him as a jerk through nothing but dialogue and quips.
Yeah.
And all the shit that just flew over my head as a kid. I
always wanted to watch the Free Willy director's cut to see that scene.
Presumably that's the only difference.
He crushed our boy.
What a mess.
What
just
a
that.
Mess. Yeah, he's just so disgusted. Like, he doesn't give a shit that his son's dead. It's just...
hate to be the one who has to mop that up. Anyway.
But because I feel like Free Willy, that shot of the whale jumping over his head as fucking Michael Jackson played, that was such an iconically ripped off moment in the 90s as well that, to play and have fun with it, the boy gets crushed. Oh, excellent.
Fun. Oh, good. My laundry is done.
He's like, I love when Moe's talking about that, and he's just like, me and Freddie were picking up cans for the people of
one of them loser countries.
Yeah, one of them loser countries.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, my laundry
is done.
Yeah, and it's all setting up this stuff that Bart's said he's innocent, so you believe him, but you as the audience are wondering,
we don't know.
Should this guy get off?
We don't know how yet, and that's really good as well.
Yeah, because this guy is so skeevy and using skeevy means to buy his innocence. Yeah.
Another, I don't know if it's wackiness per se, but we have an off-brand blue-haired lawyer who looks a bit more like Greg Proops.
Proops head lawyer.
Yeah. So that's interesting, you know.
Yeah. Oh, and the other lawyer, guest star of the episode, Phil Hartman.
Yep. Doesn't get to do much in this one, unfortunately, but
no,
gets a
but
couple
has
of quick
the
lines.
iconic line. Not only is he guilty, but he's innocent of not being guilty. And which leads into Hibbert explaining the evil gene, which both Hitler and Walt Disney had. Wonder if the Simpsons will be scrubbing that line out of future broadcasts.
Can't change history.
No, well, they're scrubbing out Stark Raving Dad, which they probably should.
Which one's that?
The Michael Jackson one.
When Michael
Ooh,
Jackson's
they're scrubbing
guest
it out.
voices.
They're removing it from syndication. They have removed it from syndication.
Really?
Yeah, which, I mean, you can still buy it on iTunes and you can't, take away it from the DVDs that are already out there.
That seems kind of weird to me, though, because that stuff about Michael came out years ago with the
Yeah.
whole trial stuff, and it's like, what, now they decide they're going to remove it?
Because of the that documentary.
Leaving Neverland, which
Yeah.
me and everybody else keeps calling it Finding Neverland, which is a very different thing.
Whoops.
Yeah. I was a bit mixed on it as well, but after watching the documentary, I'm like, that was probably the right move.
That's the thing. If you really need to find it, you can. It doesn't hurt anybody by removing it. It is a bit weird to think someone that wasn't even credited for their voice
Yeah.
is the problem, but everyone kind of knows it's them. But yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that when we eventually.
yeah.
In other news, can I ask, is McGonagall based on Dirty Harry?
I was actually wondering this because this is the first time I clicked to it, like that it might be a Clint Eastwood
It was
thing.
very Clint Eastwoody. I don't know, but I just love the whole bit. McGonagall gets set up for a crime that he didn't commit, and there's only one witness, little sissy boy who's too scared to come forward.
Just the obvious. This is just like you, person watching it.
But I like the bit at the end where, for some reason, the trailer shows the end of the episode. It's like, well, thanks to you, McGonagall, Billy is dead. They slit his throat from ear to ear. Hey, I'm trying to eat lunch here. Just the idea that they've set up Bart, you're being a wuss, but then also, and this kid died. Wait, is this a lesson for you?
Yeah. But, I mean, also that it doesn't impact McGonagall either way, that he can carry on eating his lunch. It is actually a direct parallel to what's happening. Freddy would be none the wiser. Like,
Yep, and I personally hate having my lunch interrupted.
You got to do it for me, Billy. McGonagall. Okay, for you, McGonagall.
I do love how much they say his name.
yeah, you're right. Based on Eastwood's character of Harry Callahan from the Dirty Harry films. There we go.
Yeah.
Another bit of wackiness I want to point out, and it's just implied wackiness. I'm sure we'll get out of here before dinner time. Good. I heard tonight the Doug from Frasier is going to ride the dolphin from Sequest.
What an episode that would have been.
Again, these are very, very 90s references, and I hope they still play, because that is just a delight to think about.
Yep.
What was Sequest? I never heard
Sequest DSV was like Star Trek, but under the ocean.
of that.
You know,
Okay.
they explored the ocean and stuff.
Like, me personally, I remember sort of watching it in, like, 6:30 Saturday evening sort of Channel 10 blocks of these 1 hour sort of procedural shows, it'd be paired up with like Hercules and
Yep.
sort of shit like that. Like, it's shit television.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sort of Stargate-y.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
There's only so many adventures you can have under the sea, though, so...
Yeah.
Look, there's more wackiness to probably talk about. Anything else?
Well, even though reopening the trial at this point is illegal and grossly unconstitutional, I just can't say no to kids.
Oh, man, when fucking Bart was... Actually, that's not really wacky. That was just sexism.
Yeah.
Chicks on the bench, I love that bit.
Oh, keep up the good work to it. Oh.
Then Lisa's like, chicks on the bench.
Oh, man.
Lisa's got some good laughing in this episode. That nervous laughter and the good cop, bad cop one. But yeah, anyway, lots more wackiness probably to talk about. But how about the heart of this episode? Did you guys feel bumps?
Come on, the morals, the McGonagall of it all.
Yeah, the McGonagall factor.
Just Homer's love of not doing things and getting a free hotel. That's love, man. That's deep.
Yeah.
We're kind of like the original Odd Couple. I'm the...
Shut up.
Oh, and yeah, his room service order of 2 pot roasts and 3 pillows with mints on them. Oh, so perfectly Homer. Like, I almost wished that they'd expanded that story just a little bit more, but I mean, where did you have time for it?
Yeah, and it's just, I think what's there is so good that, any more you'd risk ruining it.
Yeah. But yeah, the heart of it all. And I think it was a really clever thing to have Bart not say straight up how he was innocent.
Until someone said to him, how did you see all this, Bart? Shouldn't you have been in school? He's like, I sort of skipped school.
Yeah, we've got this tension of like the audience. I mean, we know how it ends because we've seen it a million times, but it is just a really clever thing that they buried the evidence on that one.
Yeah, and there's a great little bit at the end where, Skinner's like, I'm proud of you, Bart. You saved the Quimby boy even though I was putting your own neck in a noose. On the other hand, you skip school.
Yeah.
So they sort of cancel each other out. It's like, 3 months detention. No, wait.
And yeah, you think it's going to be hard.
Make it 4 months. It's like reverse art. It's great.
Yeah, it was a really fun Bart versus Skinner episode in that way.
And like Skinner thinking that he's won.
Yeah.
And Apu just shutting him down like he confessed.
Quiet, I need this.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. Ultimately, did this feel like an episode of The Simpsons?
110, man.
Yeah, you don't get any better than this as far as The Simpsons go. Well, you get better.
That's contested.
That's contested. But
it's
I mean,
an amazing episode.
where if someone asked me, like, hey, I've never watched The Simpsons before, what episode should I watch? I'd be like, you should watch this episode first.
Yeah, for real.
It does, like, even if you'd never seen the show before, it introduces the ideas of the characters all really, really well. So.
Yeah.
And even displaying Bart as someone who doesn't give two shits about school, but also, on the flip side, having the moral center and dilemma and stuff. Like, yeah.
When he's trying to be all, hey, Lisa, it's not my problem. You're looking at a cucumber, as in cool as a...
Yeah.
the McGarnagle.
Oh, that is such a good line as well. And as far as integrity goes, I think this is pretty much the only appearance of Freddie Quimby as well, but I think it really paints an interesting character here of, the delinquent nephew of the powerful politician that's, allowed to get away with everything.
Yeah, and also Marge says a line at one point that kind of cements that this is kind of like something that's a regular thing.
Yeah. Those Quimby children are also wild and rich.
Yeah.
That, there's already a public perception of negativity towards these people that, at the immediate party, people sort of tolerate his bullshit and
it's a great moment
shenanigans.
where everyone, the punch has been spiked. And everyone's like, the Quimby's all, that's my boy.
And even when he's like shouting down the waiter, chow dare, and everyone just around him is just sort of looking at each other going, what the fuck?
It's chowder.
Say it right.
Say it, Frenchie. Say chowder.
Wait, come back. I'm not done demeaning you.
I always thought that line was, I'm not through with meeting you. I didn't know it was demeaning for the longest time.
Oh, young Elliot.
So yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
With a steaming hot bowl of chowder.
So we're going to watch it again. We're going to put it in a playlist. Pay us to go going.
Chowder.
Chowder. Yeah.
The chowder playlist.
Clumsy wetters.
Yep. It's clumsy Cluso-esque.
Bart versus Skinner.
Yeah,
Yep.
Definitely.
Justice!
Yes, The Simpsons in the courtroom.
Just put it with like Bart the Killer and stuff like that.
Movie references.
Yeah. And just great Renier appearances.
Yeah.
As closer look, these appear to be loafers. Any other playlists? Quimby's?
Oh, yeah, Quimby.
Yeah, sure, why not? Giant Rice Krispie squares.
If there's any more of those. Well, they talk about Rice Krispie squares in the Margin Chains.
There you go.
And there's another courtroom one for you.
There you go.
And another Lionel Hutz one.
It's all the same.
Yeah. They can go all in all those playlists. Shining references. There's a few of those now.
Definitely. I've often used that line of, I've got a Shining thing going on here, and no one ever seems to get it. It bothers me.
BT, what would you change?
Nothing.
Michael, what would you change?
Nothing.
Neither. BT, any other notes?
No, I think I'm cleared. Actually, no. I have a few. What am I talking about?
Oh, sorry, another playlist. Reluctantly going to school playlist, like the last one we did.
Yep. I really like Lisa's, I knew we shouldn't have watched him open the mail. Jury duty. I'll see that Quimby kid hanged for this.
Bad-mouthing jury duty playlist. I don't get it. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, but we've also never done it. And
yeah, it's true.
I mean, I'd be up for it. Sounds amusing. But I assume.
Oh, and the Little Bastard playlist, all of Bart's
Little Bastard tampering kits.
Yeah.
Yep. And the great little story Marge has of, well, Bart, your Uncle Arthur used to have a saying, shoot 'em all and let God sort 'em out. Unfortunately, one day he put that into practice. 75 armed marshals take him down. Let's never speak of it again. So you need to follow your heart, not the voices in your head, like a certain uncle did one grey December morn.
Oh, excellent.
I just like how she paints that grey December morn.
Oh, Uncle Arthur.
Well, I mean, Uncle, but on whose side? Because Homer doesn't have... Well, Homer's got Herb, and Marge has Patty and Selma. But maybe it's Marge's uncle, I guess.
Yeah.
But that would be... Doesn't she say...
Oh, she says your Uncle Arthur.
Yeah. So unless you meant like great uncle or something like that.
Huh.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Maybe, same with Cousin Frank.
Who?
He joined a cult, and I think his name is Mother Shabubu now.
Oh, yeah, of course. How about you, Michael? Any other notes?
I love that bit when Homer's like unloading all the furniture to Barney outside, and Principal Skinner's like, "What? You're taking everything from the hotel room?" And he's like,
"Yeah,
they're souvenirs." And he's like, "Is that my necktie?"
Souvenir. Hotels expect you to take a few things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and as well with you got it, Barney.
Got
what? Fantastic.
I love Chief Wiggum's delivery when he says like, "Oh no, somebody took a bite out of the great Rice Krispie square." Oh, and the waiter's been horribly murdered, or beaten,
brutally beaten,
brutally beaten.
Just like,
yeah. And this is happening. Reminds me a lot of okay, people, nothing to see here. Oh my God, look at this horrible flaming wreckage. Gather around,
gather around. Don't be shy, gather around. And just everything the waiter says. I'm not a clumsy waiter.
And then immediately fucking falls out the window. Like
an open fucking truck of rat traps.
French, one of the last accents you can still make fun of.
But even like the sequence, like I almost want to hear Bart describing that.
It's true. A lot of painful shit happens to that guy. That pot of boiling water that pours on him. Ooh.
After getting his hands caught in both a fucking food processor and a toaster.
Yep.
That was done so well. The way he flowed into every accident was just perfect.
Head briefly into an oven and
you
falls
think
in all the classes.
Like, well, what was Freddy doing while all that was happening? Was he just watching him fall?
He just walked out.
He left the room with his champagne he stole. So.
Oh, he left straight away.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy this.
And when he falls out the window, like everyone's just like the lady.
Stenographer's like, and then he fell out the window.
Yeah. Case closed.
It's not her job to be involved. She has to just report.
Yeah, exactly.
You rest your case. Oh, I thought that was just a figure of speech.
Case closed.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I should be right. I watched Matlock the other night. The sound wasn't on, but I think I got the gist of it.
Oh, man. Missing Lionel Hutz. Something crazy. All right. Well, it's time for my final notes. Please excuse my handwriting. I busted whichever hand it is I write with. Signed, Mrs. Simpson.
You're right to be suspicious, Edna.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I had a Jordan Zainal corner. What was it?
How did Jordan Zainal?
Oh, yeah. So you got to forgive it. But yeah, the timeline of Bart witnessing the action and then Bart describing the action, it was obviously stretched out. Like, it happened a lot quicker when we originally saw just Bart, in the initial bit.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Petty thing. Mm-hmm. If I was under 17, I'd be in school, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Enjoy Booberama, sir.
And again, another sort of weirdly off-model squeaky voice teen in that one.
Enjoy Booberama, sir.
I'm one of those nephews you don't see very often. Bart. I wish I could have written down all of what Kent Brockman said, because that was just some primo news reporting there.
Just a judge will ladle out steaming hot bowls of rich, creamy justice.
Yep.
Now, we're not allowed to broadcast trials in this country, so we'll have to be quiet.
Yeah. I suggested it should be called Waitergate, but I was shut down at the press club.
Yep.
Very good.
Beat up waiter.
And Matt Groening was the court sketch artist.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Nice little reference there.
Mm-hmm.
And my final note, and I probably should have had the note ready. Does anyone know who Klaus von Bülow is?
Oh, yeah, I did look it up. He was a guy who was on trial for murdering his wife, but then they tried him again and he got off.
Oh.
Yeah. Bit of a weird reference. I don't know if there's more to it than that. That was just a quick reference from Wikipedia.
Oh, good old Schwarzwalder doing in the obscure things.
Yep, he likes those.
Time to rank this thing, BT.
Cubic Zirconia. This is so funny, so fast, so fluid. Everything is great. It's an amazing episode.
Yeah, Cubic. Fuck, like, I don't know the last time that what you would change question went by that quickly.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. Michael?
Yeah, Cubic Zirconia, definitely.
Woo!
Watch the potty mouth, honey.
This cream corn tastes like cream crap. Oh, excellent. All right, well, that was pretty cut and dry. Unanimous Cubic Zirconia. Season 5 has a number of unanimous cubic zirconias, including Homer's Barbershop Quartet,
Oh, definitely.
Cape Fear, the Sideshow Bob Cape Fear episode, Treehouse of Horror 4, which the Devil and Homer Simpson, Gremlin on the Side of the Bus, all those ones, Boy Scouts in the Hood. Yeah, where Bart joins the Boy Scouts. And
Springfield, it's a hell of a town.
Yeah.
Last Temptation of Homer, the Mindy episode. Homer Loves Flanders, the Homer Loves Flanders episode. Burns' Heir, where Bart becomes Burns' heir. And mentioned before, Sweet Seymour Skinner's Badass Song.
Did we ever find out what that was a reference to, that title?
It's a reference to Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, a 1971 drama mystery.
It's weird that I now know that, and yet I feel like I don't know what you're talking about.
Directed, produced, written, starring, and music by, and edited by Melvin Van Peebles.
Well, go Melvin Van Peebles. That's a lot of hats.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cult classic, so independent action thriller film.
Is it also written as Badass?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 2 A's, 5 S's.
My gosh.
All right. Well, yeah, that about does it for the Simpsons Index for this week. But, before we get out of here, we just like to talk briefly about things that we're into lately. Books, TV, film, movies, video games. What are other things? Music, appliances.
Bits of string.
Yeah, this is yarning about yarn.
Well, now you made a good title. We've got to make a podcast. Well done.
BT, what are you into?
Man, I've not really had time for much of anything lately, but I watched Rampage last night, and it is not a bad movie.
What, like the
Rock video game adaptation?
Fuck no.
It's fine. It's a 3 out of 5. It's enjoyable enough. There's some monsters. I like monster movies. It's good.
Yeah, because that was one where I'm like, how are you going to build a movie out of that?
Does reasonably well with it.
Because it's such a one-dimensional game, and it's a game that I fucking loved when I was a kid, but it was in that sort of way where watching the animations of destroying the buildings, eating the people was like, and especially at that time when there was nothing else like it was really satisfying, but as a game, it's actually not that good.
Nah, but it was co-op, and that's always fun.
One of the very first 3-player co-op games, actually.
Yes, curiously so.
Yeah, there's not many of those. It's a very interesting subgenre. Yeah, so, I mean...
I've been a light recommendation if you want a goofy movie.
Yeah.
It's not the goofy movie.
Which I also revisited recently. Wasn't as good as I thought it was. Anyway, all right, Rampage.
Vaguely. That's the only thing new I've been into lately.
Fair enough. Michael?
Well, like for studying and that, I had to read the Reservoir Dogs script.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so I read the script and then I watched the movie again and I was like, fuck, I love this movie. It's such a good movie. And it's just a really top film. If anyone's into something different.
Yeah.
It's a heist movie where you don't see the heist.
Yep. Any drastic changes from the script to screen?
To be honest, not really. But I noticed that there's a lot of lines that are a lot better in the movie that were changed from the screen. Like little things though.
Yeah,
like,
just phrasing and things like that.
Yeah, just phrasing. Like when they're talking about Madonna and Mr. White is like, hey, I got Madonna's big dick coming out of my left ear and I got Toby coming out of my right.
Toby Chong.
Toby Chicka Chong.
I mean, that makes sense because you think of the powerhouse actors that are in that, Buscemi and Tim Roth and fucking who else? God damn it.
Keitel.
Oh, Harvey Keitel slays in that movie.
Michael Madsen.
Say the words, you're not gonna die. I want to remix that into a song,
I'm not gonna die. Yeah.
We should get Danny to hook into that scene. I reckon there's a lot of musicality there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that used to be like one of those, I don't know what else to watch, I'll just throw that on sort of movies.
Still, like, when Buscemi's like, Mr. Pink is arguing about the name, he's like, I'll just be Mr. Purple. Yeah, I'll be Mr. Purple.
You're not Mr. Purple. Yeah. Mr. Purple's on a different job. You're Mr. Pink.
Oh, yeah, that fucking crazy old...
Who's also Elaine's dad from Seinfeld.
Yeah, and also Mall Cop Brokaw in Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, fuck.
Capiche?
Everything except capiche.
Yeah. Okay. Showtime's over.
Perfect casting.
Yeah.
Also, did you know that Madonna eventually met with Tarantino and gave him a signed copy of her sex book that said, "Dear Quentin, it's about love, not dick." In reference to Like a Virgin.
Well, yeah, I love that scene.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, like the best part is when Mr. Pink and Mr. White are like arguing, and Mr. White's like, "Hey, what's the big deal?" And Mr. Pink's like, "Oh, you want to trade names?" And he's like, "You're not fucking trading names, all right?" Yeah, and then he's like, "Well, why can't we pick our own names?" And he's like, "Nah, it doesn't work, all right? Did it last time. Everyone argues over Mr. Black, and then no one wants to back down, so I gotta pick the names."
Yeah, it's a great bit.
Oh, fantastic.
About just the weird mechanics of the background of a heist. Having people squabble over their nicknames.
And yeah, what I've been into lately, only just last night did I even hear about this and watch this. There's a documentary on YouTube called Raising Kratos, and it's an officially PlayStation-produced documentary about the making of the latest God of War game. And it is sensational.
Yeah.
It's a long watch. It is about 2 hours, but there's no major spoilers for the game. So I don't know who I'm recommending this to because it's a pretty niche fucking subgenre of, video game making documentary. But it's really well put together, really gives a deep personal understanding to a lot of the people that are behind this, and people that you don't often see at the forefront of these things, and also the actors who, the main guys behind Kratos and Freyda, who were each going through their own like personal struggles at the time of like making this game, which is so deeply about familial relationships. And you see how deeply it resonated with them. And what's the guy who played Kratos again?
Glenn Close.
Is she on your mind because of John Oliver lately?
No, it's just I throw over either her name or Meryl Streep out every now and then when you ask something and I don't know the answer.
Christopher Judge. But yeah, he has an amazing story to tell. I mean, they all do. And yeah, I mean, it's free on YouTube. It's a bit of a time sink at 2 hours, but I think it's just a lovely, well put together documentary. And it really makes me want to see more video game documentaries, to be honest.
Yeah, especially on voice acting. I find it very fascinating.
Oh, yeah. And they go with the kid as well, who is like an amazing actor. Yeah, I mentioned before, he's the lead in that Jonah Hill 90s teen thing. Yeah. And yeah, watching him respond to direction as well. And like they're talking about the scene where he has to, plunge a knife into a deer. And the director's like, okay, so, just think of the deer and think of its family that it's losing. And the kid's like, oh. And he's like, use that. It's like, oh, actually, that was probably traumatizing. Anyway.
Oh, well. Hey, it's for art, damn it.
Yeah. So yeah, Raising Kratos, available now on YouTube. And also we should do some quick plugs. Michael, your podcast?
Seen any movies lately?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a game show podcast. It's comprised of 3 segments where we talk about film news of the week. We engage in a game show where I give away prizes, and then the last segment is where I ask everyone on the show if they've seen any movies lately, and we give recommendations for movies to watch and movies that we should probably avoid.
Yep. And yeah, me and BT were on a recent episode where big superhero movie theme.
Yeah.
And BT, you absolutely slayed me in the trivia.
Don't give it away.
Oh. I mean, I won.
Or did you? Or did you?
It was a competitive battle.
Well, I gave that away, but what movies did I see lately? Ooh, I'll never tell. And BT?
Yeah, so Elliot and I have a new podcast out called Thrones of Game. And you're thinking, what? A Game of Thrones podcast? But as always, there's a twist.
Always a twist with
so
us.
I've watched the series from the beginning, but however, Elliot has never seen an episode until we started this podcast, and we're watching it backwards. So we start with the finale, and we're in 2 episodes in now, and it's some fun. It's an interesting take on it. I think we're going to draw a very interesting your thought process on characters going backwards.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be interesting.
Watching one of the best shows of all time in the worst way possible.
Yeah, but we've also decided to make this as, just, oh man. I mean, it better be your mum.
And it literally was.
All right, well, that's okay. It's always okay to take a call from your mum. Yeah, call your mum, everybody. Yeah, so we just decided to keep this, quick and fast paced, so it's about a 20-minute slog, and that's it. It's some good fun so far.
Yeah, on the opposite end of the spectrum of the Simpsons index, yeah.
Yeah, my brain is still, calculated to assuming a podcast takes 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, when we do one that takes 20 minutes, like, oh, it's still daylight. What?
Yeah. But yeah, we're working through season 8, of course. So yeah, the episodes are currently taking 4 hours each to watch. But yeah, the podcast itself, 20 minutes. Nice, easy, digestible for all you GOT fans out there.
Yeah, so Thrones of Game, check it out.
All right, guys. Well, I've got to return a call to my mum, so we better get out of here. That's been BT Calloway.
Hoi.
And that's been Michael Pisciuneri.
Ta-ta.
All right, we'll catch you next time. That's all the mustard in the house.
It's pronounced mustard.
Say it right. Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at simpsonsindex on Twitter or Instagram. Now, there's no bonus scenes for this episode, so we'll catch you next week.